Hello and welcome to Odds on Champions League playoffs or round of last 32 first leg. We have great games, especially of course Man City, Real Madrid, or as Usair is telling us, Feyenoord, AC Milan with Santiago Jimenez, of course, in the spotlight. So let's analyze all 8 games, very interesting ones with Ronan Murphy, with Alain Valnegri. Hello, guys, and with you. So feel free to leave your comments, to press the like, to subscribe, and now let's go on with the show. And the first game or tie is a one-sided one, probably the clear favorite in this last 32 round. We have Brest, PSG, and luckily, actually for Brest, they have to pay against a team from the same country, and the head-to-head is really negative. No wins for Brest since we have records, and recently they met, and PSG thrashed them 2-5 in Brest. This game is going to be played nearby in Guingamp. It's very difficult, Alain Valnegri, not to back PSG. We saw them also in great form at the weekend against Monaco, 4-1 with 𝐿𝐵𝐵𝐿𝐴 even scoring with Dembélé in full power. So, again, the odds are with PSG, and there is no mind, I think, or no reason to back Brest in any possibility in this game.
Well, yes, the logical said that, but football is not always logical. Now, yes, PSG is the best moment of the season of for Paris Saint-Germain. Maybe at the beginning of December we had some doubt, but after the 2 games against Monaco in Champions in French Cup and in Ligue 1. PSG show his personality and show his in my opinion, as strengthness, is the best moment of Luis Enrique era in the management of the game, and we saw that and we felt that against the Manchester City, and that team has personality, and a lot of times we have a lot of doubt about the personality of the team, but Luis Enrique gave that to the team. The market was perfect because right now the player are the player who can adapt to the Luis Enrique style. Now Brest, the objective is to be back in Europe, but I have a lot of doubt about the Brest can win the Champions League. The alternative is in the national tournament, and in Ligue 1 they catch good results in the last months, but in Champions I think is the experience of Brest is finished. I choose 2 odds for this game. I choose PSG winning at the end of the first half and at the end of the game, odds 2.00, and Dembélé we can try because Dembélé is on fire, and Dembélé score odds 1.95.
Well, they had a great season in the Champions League. It's already a success, Ronan, being in this round for Brest. But as I said, no, when you are in Europe, you don't want to face again PSG, a team where you have a terrible record, actually.
Yeah, that record you said with the stats, the Oddspedia stats only go back to 8 years, but it's even longer than that. But by the time last time that Brest won, it was January 1985. So a lot of our viewers perhaps weren't even alive back then when the last time Brest beat PSG. So I'm not sure it's going to happen this time either. PSG have won 12 of the last 13 meetings. Like you said, it was 5-2 earlier this month. So yeah, things aren't looking good for Brest going into this match. And like Alain said, that PSG they look a different side now. They look a more composed side, a more threatening side in attack. The attack seems to be working better the way Luis Enrique wants. So this seems to be a PSG team that will score goals in this match, and I'm hoping for lots of goals. But if you look at the last meetings between PSG and Brest, the last one obviously being 5-2, they've all been both teams to score yes the last 6 meetings. So both teams to score yes could be an option here. 175 if you're looking for a bit of value away from backing PSG to do everything in this match. PSG obviously have been excellent in 2025, drawing one game and winning the other 9 of the 10 matches they've played. They're unbeaten in 16 matches. It's hard to look past PSG doing anything other than winning here, but they are a team that likes to score goals. So PSG have scored 3 or more goals in the last 3 games they've played against Brest. So PSG total goals over 2.5. There might be a bit of value in that. That's 2 total goals in this match. It's around the same as well, or 2.20 it is for that one. Total goals over 3.25 in this match could be an option if you think Brest are going to score like I do. So that's 2. But I agree with Alain. 𝐿𝐵𝐵𝐿𝐴 is just on such form so far in 2025. 7 games and 13 goals, including a hat-trick against Brest and a hat-trick against Stuttgart. So I think he can score again. So I'm going with 𝐿𝐵𝐵𝐿𝐴 anytime goal scorer as well.
Okay, you kind of agree, guys. Both teams to score and PSG to win. Many people are telling us this bet, or both teams to score an over 2.5 goal, which is kind of obvious. So we expect goal. We expect PSG to win, and perhaps since Brest has nothing to lose, they should try to attack and see if they are lucky to get a good result and at least be alive to the second leg. Remember, next week at the Parc des Princes. Let's go to the next one. Better odds here. Juventus PSV. We saw already this game in September. Juve won 3-1. Juve recovering a little bit in Serie A with the results, but not with the way of playing. They were very lucky to beat Como. The best news for them is the arrival of 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐻, scoring goals since the start. And in the last Champions League game, remember that they lost at home to Benfica. PSV lost the leadership in the Eredivisie. Ronan, this Juventus is very difficult to trust, although the odds are kind of good, actually, around 2.0 if you back them.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by those odds because I think since 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐻, like you said, since he's come in, maybe they've started turning those draws into wins, and they've had so many draws in the first half of the season, but they've had a few good results since 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐻's come in. He's got 5 goals in 3 Serie A games. He scored against Napoli on his debut, and then 2 against Empoli and 2 against Como. So he is on fire for Juventus. He's proved a fantastic signing. It's kind of worked out very well for both PSG and Juventus. It's one of these transfers where it's win-win for everybody. So I think 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐻 is the player to look at, maybe to get some value in this, apart from Juventus. If you don't fully trust Juventus, the fact he can get something in this match, he's over a half a shot on target is 1.44, but obviously a lot better. Randall 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐻, anytime scorer, is 3 in this one, and he's on such good form. Why wouldn't you back it if you wanted to risk going for him? Like you said, these sides have already played in the tournament. Juventus showed their quality on the pitch in that one. Juventus are a very good defensive side. They have the second best defensive record of any of these teams that are in the knockout round playoffs, and they've won 3 games in a row for the first time this season. So this is the time you don't want to face Juventus, so they could make it 4 games in a row here. So I do like Juventus win 196, as we were showing and as you introduced.
Well, Alain, I think you've been very skeptical about Juventus this season, not very convinced about the way they are playing, and someone is highlighting also the draw. Juventus is the king of draws in the Serie A. Would you go for a surprise, or you trust Juventus in this kind of atmosphere and stages in the Champions League?
By Juventus, if you analyze the content of the full game, Juventus concede every game 45 minutes to the rival. We have a version of Juventus really dominant, and now with 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐻, they have a area striker can be conclude what the team creates, and is able to score 2-3 goals per half. But we have a Juventus during one half, and we don't understand the identity. We don't understand what is wrong, because Juventus last summer spent 2,000 million euro in the market. And now the question is, who can be justify his price in the market? Right now, only 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐻, because 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐻 is far about the version in Atalanta. Douglas Luiz is a mystery. We don't understand who is Douglas Luiz. right now. Nico Gonzalez is always injured. 𝐿𝐭𝐚𝐲 is a joker, is a player who gives the best his best version when he came from the bench. And it's difficult to choose one 𝐿𝐿. It's true, PSV warning, because PSV away this season is the worst version of the Dutch team. Is not in a good moment. Ajax recovered the distance, and right now Ajax, if they won the game there means there will be the leader, and that one is not a good thing. Is not a good moment for PSV. PSV Eindhoven away, they catch only a draw, a positive result away this season in Eredivisie and in Champions in the big match. In spite of that, I think PSV can be scored, Juventus can be scored. I chose both teams to score, odds 1.85.
Okay, David Rodriguez also highlighting Kolo Muani over 1.5 shots on target, even more than Ronan. Well, this is a great game. Perhaps we see a surprise in this game. And next one, the game of the games in these playoffs, Man City, Real Madrid. Last season we saw in the quarterfinals this game is a classic now in the Champions League. Guardiola against Real Madrid. Remember, Real Madrid had never won at the Etihad, and this is a special game because at the beginning of the season, perhaps we could all point out these teams are as the favorites for the Champions League, but probably not anymore. Man City in big crisis. We saw them even in the FA Cup struggling against Leyton Orient with many difficulties in defense, conceding in every single game. And Real Madrid, Alain, the last news is also Lucas Vázquez missing this game, so they don't have any defense. Rudiger, Alaba, Militao, Carvajal, Lucas Vázquez, all out, so Ancelotti has to invent a defense, and they are coming from a draw in the derby against Atlético de Madrid. So I guess with these defenses and this attack is goals galore, goals and goals and goals in this tie.
Yes, maybe Ancelotti can call you to play like center defender.
I used to be kind of Fernando Hierro was my idol.
Give us an odds, no? If you play, give us the best odds, and we can give a good prediction. It's difficult to understand Manchester City, because the potential is there. Is a team have a strong domination in Premier League in the last 5-6 years. Yes, Rodri is not there, but Man City can be depend about only one player. Now the question is, what happened? Is the final of a cycle? They spend a lot of money in the market during in January, and I think especially in key position, player can be make difference arrive and sing to City, and that one is the game where to show you have the personality, you have the talent to defend this jersey. Now Real Madrid without the defense is a problem. Is a problem because we saw Ancelotti adapt some midfielder in this position, but in that type of game you can't make experimentation. It's difficult, and that one, the only sign give me is a goal game. When? How many? City, when they played at home, the percent of the over 1.75 goals in the second half is really, really high. In the second half, normally City at home score, and there will be concede. And we know Mbappe, when he played against City since the time of Monaco, Mbappe feel really comfortable because he found space, and Mbappe is a runner. And for that reason, I think in the second half we will be see goals, and I choose over 1.75 goals in the second half, odds 1.90.
Well, we are going to see Valverde as a right back, probably, as a center back, Tchouaméni and Asensio, and left back Mendy, so a fully new defense, but Man City are no better, Ronan.
Centre back Edu, I think you left off, did you? But yeah, this is a depleted Real Madrid, and Cy Tyson says in the comments there he's predicting he's feeling a 2-2 draw, and you wouldn't be shocked to see that, given the attacking talent both teams have and the defensive kind of instability of Real Madrid at the moment, as well as maybe the defensive instability that Man City has had going back months. And even in 2025, they've failed to convince at times. They've already lost 4-2 to PSG, 5-1 to Arsenal this year, but both those matches were away. Whereas home, they've been kind of much better. They've been excellent at home. They've beat West Ham 4-1, Salford in the Cup, obviously 8-0, Chelsea 3-1, Brugge 3-1. So they tend to get lots of goals in their home games, but they can tend to concede too as well. So this kind of means that it could be a match where we see plenty of games. So the average goals between these two sides are 2.3 and against 2.5. So both teams score. Yes, it's not magnificent value, but it looks pretty good. 1.45. Then before we started recording this, I saw a stat, so I had a look. So Daniel, our producer, doesn't have this tip to show on the screen, but I kind of like the look of it. Kevin De Bruyne against Real Madrid, he's played 9 times. He's got 4 goals and 4 assists. Nobody in Champions League history has 9 goal involvements against Real Madrid. So if he's the first one to do it, as to Kevin De Bruyne to score or assist is 2.10, and he was rested at the weekend, so that could be worth having a look at. So, but my one for this is following on from Cy Tyson's prediction. There's going to be 2-2 draw. Fits in with that. Total goals over 3.25. I just think there's going to be lots of goals in this. It could go anyway, but there should be plenty of goals. So total goals over 3.25.
Well, we were seeing also last year, we saw in the first leg 3-3 was at the Bernabeu. In the second leg, Real Madrid played really defensively, and they were lucky to go into penalties and win in the penalty shootout, but both are really depleted, and most probably we should see goals. Imagine that the bookies are giving us 1.4 for over 2.5 goals. So I think we should expect plenty of goals. Tyson is also pointing at 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲. Probably he's going to have a spot in the midfield together with Ceballos and Bellingham, since Valverde is going to play as a right back. Both teams to score and double chance for Man City. As you can see, the odds are really high for all the outcomes. Also in the 1x2, much more difficult to predict, but also history is against Real Madrid at the Etihad. This is pretty odd considering we are talking about the Champions League. Well, and if last year champions are in trouble going to Manchester, also the runners-up are not in good shape, and they are facing the Sporting. A lot of changes in both sides this season. As we know, Sporting with the 3rd manager of the season now. They are back to be top in Portugal, drew with Porto at the weekend. In the Champions League, they had a dip in form since the last win was in November against Man City, actually, but they conceded plenty of goals and lost to Bruges, Leipzig, or Arsenal recently. Ronan, Dortmund, also 3rd manager of the season, 𝐻𝐞𝐭'𝐬, after the caretaker, and he started with a defeat against Stuttgart. But Dortmund in Europe usually is a good team to trust, actually. And with these odds, in the experience of both sides in Europe, perhaps it's good to take a look at the odds for Dortmund.
Yeah, this Dortmund side are quite unpredictable. And like you said, the 3rd manager got off to the worst start. The 2nd manager left undefeated. So, yeah, the caretaker manager. So 𝐻𝐞𝐭'𝐬 has already lost his first game to Stuttgart. And I think in that match, Dortmund, they didn't seem to have a lot of ideas. They kind of were playing into what Pep Guardiola hit out at when he moved to Bayern Munich. He didn't want them playing any kind of U shape where they just pass between defenders and out to the wing and back to the middle and back in a U. And Dortmund were kind of doing that for a lot of the time against Stuttgart. And Stuttgart just kind of used their better physical attributes to win that match. So I think Borussia Dortmund are going to have to get up to speed under 𝐻𝐞𝐭'𝐬 very quickly. And this will be a tricky match for them to get up to speed, because they've only won twice in 2025. They haven't kept a clean sheet in 13 games. The last time they kept a clean sheet was against Dinamo Zagreb in the Champions League. So the only thing is, Dortmund do tend to score a lot of goals, and their 22 goals scored in the competition is the 2nd most of any team in the league phase, so behind Barcelona. So they do tend to score goals, and that should give them confidence going into this game against Sporting, that if they can get kind of 𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿's defensive aspects right, they might be able to do something here in this match. Both teams to score, yes, has happened in Sporting's last 3 games. 2 of them are 1-1 draws. Both teams to score, yes, has happened in Dortmund's last 5 games. Like I said, they've conceded in the last 13 games. So both teams to score, yes, is another one I'm going for here, because I always do with Borussia Dortmund. It seems to be an easy tip for Borussia Dortmund, because that's what they do. They score, they concede. That's what happens. A draw is 379, I think. Yeah, 379 is what the draw is. It's showing us on the screen. That could be an option here, but I'm going to go for a double chance for Dortmund, because I think Dortmund in Europe, they tend to be a different beast, like you said. So I'm hoping we see that different beast here, and 𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿 can maybe scratch the belly of that beast and make him come out against Sporting.
Even in the defeat against Barcelona, we saw a good Borussia Dortmund, not in the defeat against Bologna. That's why Sahin was sacked after the game. Goals, Alain Valnegri with 𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿, with 𝗀𝗵cie, for instance, on the pitch. Goals is a good idea here.
It's a very good idea, and I follow this market. Dortmund, since the beginning of the season, the over 2.5 goals is 88% of the game finish with over 2.5 goals. Is amazing statistic. Now, Sporting is a team, maybe in Champions, they have a little more balance, but when we speak about balance in Sporting, the player, in my opinion, give the defensive balance, especially to the Sporting, is Morten Ullmann. And Ullmann will not play this game. And that one, in my opinion, means Sporting will be super a lot of transition, a lot of counter-attack. And Dortmund, when they can run, is a dangerous team. It's a dangerous team. I think we will see a really dynamic game. Sporting is already searching a new identity after the Ruben Amorim era. We saw sometimes there miss the identity, and there miss that player don't know what they must to do. And with Amorim, it was really clear. And Amorim have brilliant result with this team, but this team has the same quality. Now there must to work better in the collective aspect way. And for that, I think without the ball, there miss something. Right now, we saw that one too against Bologna. In Oporto, they catch a good draw, but in the content, I'm not so positive with this Sporting. And for that reason, I see we will see a lot of finalization, and that one means a lot of goals, over 2.75 goals, odds 1.92.
Well, okay, talking about goals, David is pointing out that 𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿, anytime scorer, 2.25, Nava, Sporting double chance, and over 1.5 goals. Here we can see easily a surprise. Uzair is mentioning Feyenoord Milan. We will arrive at that at that game and analyze, of course, João Félix and Santiago Jiménez. But it's the last game we have in this video, because on Wednesday we have 3 other games before arriving to Rotterdam. First one, early kickoff, is Brugge, Atalanta were on fire at the weekend, 5-0 in Verona, with Retegui scoring a poker. And usually they have very good number actually in Europe, away from home, much better than at home. They were very close to qualify for the top 8. They are favorites for this game and for the tie, Alain, but Brugge also show us in this Champions League that they can be very competitive even in the last game against Man City, but especially at home, where Juventus couldn't win and they were able to beat Aston Villa and Sporting.
Yes, it's a scorbutic team, Bruges, because it's a team known to defend. In Bruges, it's not important to have the ball. And I saw that in few show in the past for the champions. Bruges is a team played in a league where it's dominant, but normally that type of team in Europe have a lot of problem, especially with the interpretation of the game. Because when you are really offensive, really dominant in your league, when you're playing Champions League, it's difficult to be dominant against better team in the technical value. And Bruges have that skills, can adapt itself to the champions, to the competition, to say, okay, we wait. We will be playing in transition. Is a really physical team. And Atalanta concede a lot of space. Atalanta is one of the most offensive team in the European football. Atalanta want to score one goal more, and not in the Italian mind. We don't have a lot of team like that. But this team is dangerous for Atalanta, in my opinion, because Atalanta can be super. If Atalanta don't score fast in the game, there will be, in my opinion, be really exposed to this game. After, if we analyze in 180 minutes, Atalanta is really favorite for that game. But in Bruges, only Dortmund won this season. And I think that one, we must to consider that. We must to consider Bruges arrived not in his best form, because we saw in the last week losing in Antwerp, some draw against 𝐿𝐴 at home, and Genk increased the difference for the leadership in the Jupiler Pro League. But no, in my opinion, Bruges will be lose this game. I choose a surprise. Is the surprise, one of the surprise of the week. I choose the double opportunity, 1x odds 1.78.
Well, imagine if Atalanta are favorites for the tie. It's only 1.3 for Gasperini's men to qualify. Both teams to score according to Viper. You also see trouble here for Atalanta, Ronan?
Not as much, perhaps, as some people are saying. I like George's comment that it's a difficult game, but he doesn't see a lot of goals. I think, like Alain said, Atalanta are a team that like to score, but Bruges are a team that like low scoring matches, and Bruges had been on a poor run themselves before they won 1-0 against Leuven at the weekend on Saturday. So I think this might be a difficult match for Bruges, and I think Atalanta, they obviously scored a lot of goals at the weekend, and they like scoring goals. Their average goals this season is 2.5 goals per game. But Bruges, on the other hand, 0.9 goals. They aren't a team that like to score lots of goals, so they will hope to keep the score down and keep the match tight. And I think that could be one of the outcomes of this match. Both teams have had impressive draws in the Champions League this year. Bruges obviously drew with Juventus. Atalanta drew with Barcelona. This match, I don't think is going to be a high-scoring thriller. I think it could be a nervy one, which sets us up nicely for the second leg in Atalanta. But I think this could be a kind of tricky match for both sides as they kind of test each other out, because Bruges are a very kind of technical team. We saw it in some of their games. They are very good without the ball, even better than they are with the ball, probably. So they are a team that will cause problems for someone like Atalanta, who like to score lots of goals. And obviously seen against Man City. Man City struggled for long periods in that match, that Bruges were able to kind of force them into mistakes, and they were happy enough to let Man City have the ball and do nothing essentially with it. So I think we could see a match like that. So I'm going for total goals under 2.5 in this one. I don't think it's going to be a thriller. Viper is talking about it could be a both teams to score match to have in your ACCA, but I'm not necessarily sure this is going to happen. So total goals under 2.5, but I do like the look of an Atalanta win as well. I think it looks great value here, because I think they are a stronger team and they might be able to sneak out a narrow win.
Well, difficult one, because we have many different opinions. Tyson is also going for the draw. Atalanta double chance for Carbonaro and over 1.5 goals, and the 𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐶𝐞𝐜 to score. And we have Ronan also trusting Atalanta, and we have Alain on the other hand trusting Bruges. Difficult one also. The next one is a tricky one. Monaco Benfica. Also, we saw this game back in the group stages, and Benfica won in the Louis II 2-3, and we have actually Benfica as the underdog, so great odds to back them. Second team Portugal, they beat Juve 2-0 in the last game in the Champions League, and Benfica so difficult to predict in this Champions League because also they played great games at home against Atletico de Madrid or Barcelona. On the other hand, we have Monaco in trouble in Ligue 1. So perhaps it's a good moment, Ronan, to back Benfica somehow.
Yeah, it could be. If they are a team who like scoring goals, so I think you're going to go for the opposite one. I think this is going to be a super entertaining match. I think it could be a great match to watch. Obviously, I'll be watching Bayern Munich in the late kickoffs because of what I do the rest of the week. But yeah, I think it could be a great match to catch the highlights on. Monaco have been super inconsistent recently. They've beat Rennes 3-2. They lost 3-0 to Inter. They beat 𝐬𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐜 4-2, and then they lost 4-1 to PSG, so they're kind of all over the place. And Benfica, 3 wins in a row, including beating Juventus away, and then back-to-back 3-2 wins in the league. So 3-2 win kind of indicates that they're liking to score, they like to concede. Both teams to score, I'm going for again. Yeah, why not? We love a bit of both teams to score. And like Viper said, it could be a good one to have in the ACCA. A few both teams to score together. If you combine them, it could be the way to go. As well, if you look at these teams, they do like to score. Monaco do also like to score. Over 2.5 goals has happened 71% of the time for Monaco. So Benfica, obviously, in their last 2 games, but they've got it up to 63% of the time for them this season. In the Champions League this season, Monaco have had 6 of their games, 6 of the 8 games they've played have had 3 or more goals, and Benfica had 5 of their games with 3 or more goals, including that 5-4 thriller with Barcelona. So the same again, please. Total goals over 2.75.
Well, Alain, tell me what is going on with Monaco. They look way worse in this moment of the season.
There's a lot of defensive problems. 11 goals received in the last 4 games. It's an average near to 3 goals conceded per game. It's difficult to win a game because you must score 4 goals, and especially in the biggest game, we saw that the last week against Paris Saint-Germain, in Milano against Inter, and same against Stade Rennais and Auxerre, who is fighting against the relegation in France, received 2 goals at home in every game, and they was lucky to found 3 goals against Stade Rennais, 4 against Auxerre, but the defensive problem right now for Monaco are clear, is explicit. Now the Utah must to find quickly solution, because I think the midfield is the problem, is unprotect the defense, and is so offensive team. Now the question is, he will be play against Benfica with a less creative midfield to this game? I have some doubt, because Adi Hütter don't show the skills to adapt himself to the rival. Monaco has one way to play, and in Champions, when do you have that type of model of play, you suffer. You must to be adaptable, because Champions League, you will be found team with the technical value better than you, and that one, Monaco, I think that they pay a little that right now. The unbalance between the line is a team don't known to play like a block. Benfica is not a team who is comfortable play in block, but the offensive talent is amazing, and we saw that in the game in Champions League this season. At the end of November, Benfica won 3-2 with a really crazy end of the game, with 2 goals in the last 10 minutes for Benfica to change the results. Now Benfica feel good. I think the victory against Juventus clean a lot of problem that show against Barcelona, against Casapia, and now Sporting catch a draw. The last weekend they recovered 2 points. Benfica arrived well at this game, and I think Benfica will be lose in Monaco, especially for the psychological moment between both teams. I choose double opportunity. X2 odds 1.65.
And I was mentioning that the first game, Brest PSG, is really one-sided, but Celtic Bayern Munich probably even more. Bayern Munich to win in Celtic Park is 1.4. Perhaps is the only doubt in this tie because, as we know, the atmosphere and so on is not that easy to go to Glasgow and win. And actually, they got kind of good results at home, even beating Feyenoord. But Celtic are here because they had an easy draw. They did good things in this Champions League, of course. But I think we should expect Bayern Munich to win. They've had a bad Champions League, Alain. That's why they are in these playoffs. They lost in Rotterdam, in Barcelona, and in Birmingham against Aston Villa. But we must see another Bayern Munich in Celtic Park.
Yes, I think company have problem in the biggest match this season. I think Bayern is not at the level we can wait with Bayern, because you mentioned Feyenoord, you mentioned Barcelona, you mentioned Villa Park. We can mention to the game in Pokal against Bayer Leverkusen. I don't know if Bayern can be increase its level in the biggest match. Is a big match for the ambient, yes. And I love Celtics. I love Celtic ambient. I love the mentality of Celtic, because Celtic will be played like Celtic, with offensive football, with a lot of passion, with the high block to go to press Bayern, to try to win the game. Celtic is a team don't know to calculate, and that one I love that spirit. And since the beginning of the season, the average of point of goal average in the first half is really high for Celtic, and there will be press really strong with a lot of passion Bayern. That one means Celtic will be create occasion and Bayern will be have space. And for that reason, I choose over 1.75 goals in the first half, 25 goals, odds 1.78.
Well, Bayern should win, but both teams to score could be an option. Carbonaro is telling us. The question probably is that if Bayern really need to step up to win at Celtic Park, or is not this huge occasion, Ronan?
Yeah, I think it's always a wonderful atmosphere playing at Celtic Park, but Bayern Munich are used to wonderful atmospheres. They've played in Dortmund earlier this season, obviously. They've had the yellow wall, so they're used to kind of going into difficult places and getting results, and it was a draw in that match that I mentioned. I think Bayern Munich is a team is going to be a totally different animal compared to what Celtic have been playing recently. They've had a 5-0 win over Wraith Rovers in the Cup after beating Dundee 6-0 in the league in midweek. So Wraith Rovers and Dundee are not to the level of Bayern Munich. Apologies to any Wraith and Dundee fans that we have watching, but yeah, I think they would also agree that perhaps they're not at the same level of Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich have had 4 wins in a row. They've scored 3 goals in their last 3 games. They have been the defeats that they have had in the Champions League were away. They haven't been as good on the road as they have been at home. But I think this, like Alain said, they need to step up in the bigger games, and this is the bigger game. Vincent Kompany needs to kind of show what they can do. And I think Bayern Munich, under Vincent Kompany, one thing I've seen from them is how good their defense is. It's probably the best defense I've seen from Bayern Munich in a decade. They restrict teams to absolutely nothing in a lot of matches. They've had 2 or 3 games already this season where the opposition team has had 0.0 xG, and again at the weekend they were able to restrict the opposition to 0.2 xG. So this is a team that do not give away a lot of chances, and they try and keep solid at the back, whereas in the past we've kind of seen a more gung-ho approach from Bayern Munich, and maybe that's the benefit of having Kompany there. He hasn't kind of pulled their socks up for the big games yet, but he has improved them so much defensively that if they can start scoring all the chances they create and not be reliant on Harry Kane to score 2 penalties in a match, they will be a juggernaut that will be unstoppable. but they just have to get to that level. They haven't quite got to it yet. So Celtic, I'm going to go out on a wild one, because Celtic have scored in every home game this year. They've scored in every home game they played last year. Bayern Munich, they failed to score against Feyenoord in the last Champions League game. They didn't score against Aston Villa away. So I think I'm going to go for a Bayern clean sheet. Could be an option here, but it's probably safer to go for both teams to score no. I'm going to go out on a limb and think that Bayern can do a defensive masterclass, the exact opposite to what Alain is saying in this match.
Indeed, we all also expect a lot of goals in Celtic Park. Bayern Munich was lucky in the draw because it was either Man City or Celtic, and they got Celtic for themselves. And the last game, Feyenoord Milan, there is someone that was waiting this moment, and the question if the impact of Jimenez and João Felix can be felt in Rotterdam. So this question must be answered, Ronan, as soon as possible.
Yeah, he's been waiting so long. I think if we made him wait 5 more minutes, he might blow a fuse. But yeah, our commentator is saying that Jimenez can't play in Champions League, but they've changed those rules, so now you can. So he's been registered, obviously, for this match, just like a lot of the new signings. So I think he will have a big impact. How João Felix will have a big impact. I think Jimenez will probably have the biggest impact, because we saw him come off the bench, score on his debut for Feyenoord this season. He was fantastic, 16 goals in 20 games. So I think AC Milan have signed quite well. Even they've signed so many players in January that a couple of the players actually missed out on the Champions League squad, because you're only able to bring in 3 players, Warren Bondo and Ricardo Sotila, after missing out on the Champions League squad. But yeah, Feyenoord, they were able to turn things around at the weekend. Yeah, they lost 3 games in a row. They were trounced by Lille, if you remember, a few weeks back, 6-1, but they were able to beat Sparta Rotterdam at the weekend 3-0. So they've kind of at least stopped that winless run. But AC Milan have been pretty good in recent matches. They're unbeaten in 3 games. They drew with Inter in the derby, obviously, and then they beat both Roma and Empoli. And like I said, Jimenez came off the bench in that one to score. So I like the look of an AC Milan win at 2.32. I think that looks pretty good. I think AC Milan are in a good run of form. They've signed well in January. I think they should be a stronger team. They should be a strong team, but much to Ozer's delight, my main tip for this one is Santiago Jimenez, anytime scorer. That's what I'm going for in this match.
Great. Santiago Jimenez making an impact against the Roma, for instance. Also João Felix against Empoli. Alain, this Milan looks better with 𝐿𝐭𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐜 and with the signings, no? Probably it's a stronger team than with Fonseca and Morata.
It's different. I think Jimenez can be played with Morata. They're complementary. Morata, in my opinion, is not area striker. He's a striker of movement and make play better the team and the line in the midfield, offensive midfielder. Now the question is, who will be run with this in this team? Because we have potentially 5 really offensive players: Reinders, Leao, João Felix, Pulisic, and Santiago Jimenez. And the only midfielder will be run and defend is Fofana or Bondo. And where is the balance? I love the offensive football. I love that spirit. I think 𝐿𝐭𝐴𝐧𝐶 will be adapted a 4-4-2 in phase of no possession and a 4-2-4 in offensive phase. But that one means we will be conceded a lot of space and we will be scored a goal more than the another team. And that one goal is a little iconoclast about the Italian football, the Italian mentality. No, and it's my biggest question. I hope and I dream that the team can be that make and offer a champagne football and really offensive. But I have some doubt without the ball, with the mentality of the team. Leao, Pulisic will be defend, or João Felix will be defend. I have a lot of doubt. And in Feyenoord is a team play a really direct football. It's not a classical offensive positional attack football from Netherlands. Feyenoord is aggressive team. They don't want the possession of the ball. We saw that against Bayern. Against Bayern, Santiago Jimenez was there, and I think Santiago Jimenez is the player probably will make the difference. And this game is difficult for him because we have a lot of emotion, of course, and that one can be affect a little his game, the quality of the game in the 𝐿𝐴. But after in Milano, I think Milan is better. We saw Feyenoord, except the game against Bayern in the biggest match. Feyenoord, this team this season suffer a lot, and for that reason I don't choose 1x2 because we have so many emotion. We don't know the true identity of the Milan. I choose goal over 2.75 goals, odds 1.86.
All right. Well, Feyenoord 1x according to Carbon Aaron. Great games. A lot of goals predicted in this show. Of course, highlighting this Man City, Real Madrid, but everything can happen with big guns of Europe, especially, for instance, Milan or Juventus having tough games against teams from the Eredivisie. Well, guys, you've made your predictions also in this show, so I encourage you to participate in our tipster competitions monthly, yearly, and win some cash prizes or create your own one thanks to Rivals. There you go, all our tipster competitions or the public rivals. You have it there. Well, Ronan, let's go with your safe bet.
My safe bet is the safest of safe bets, like you said. PSG to win, 141.
And the Alain, your safe bet?
Feyenoord Milan over 1.75 goals, at 1.24.
Your ACCA, Alain?
Celtic Bayern over 1.75 goals in the first half. City Real Madrid over 1.75 goals in the second half. And Monaco Benfica over 1.75 goals for a total 4.19. Sorry.
You love the Asian handicap, eh? You can make it easier for us, Alain, going for 2 or for 1.5.
I am goal marketer, yes.
Ronan, your ACCA?
I've gone for both teams to score market. PSG to win, obviously, but both teams to score, yes, in both Man City, Real Madrid, and Sporting Dortmund for a total of 331.
All right. I like this ACCA actually a lot. Well, thank you, Ronan. Thanks, Alain Valnegri. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Let's enjoy Champions League. Bye-bye.
Oh.